What is up, Steeler Nation? The season may be over, but over at the Sick Podcast, Steeler Crazy, we are going all year. I am JY. This is Michael Nicastro. We're going to get to it because, man, there's still a lot to talk about. The draft is going to be coming up. Everything, man. Steelers Crazy, a sick production. Sammy, hike that football.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Steelers Crazy.
Harris Smith shields. Flacco, Polamalu takes it home. Super Bowl 43. Pittsburgh might be bound for that thanks to number 43.
The sickest Pittsburgh Steelers podcast. Sports entertainment like no other. It's gonna be sick.
Hike that football. That's a new one. I like that. You think he's in the shotgun? You think he's under center?
I think he's in the shotgun.
Running the Wildcat?
Yeah, and I almost got tears in my eyes hearing that. We're number 43, man. Super Bowl memories, man. I think again I was at your house and we skipped school that day, but yeah, that was man.
It's a long time ago at this point.
Yeah,
sadly.
Yeah,
It was a long time ago. It there's a lot of people that are bringing that up a lot, obviously, when it comes to Coach Tomlin this offseason. And you could say it was a long time ago because it was, but we've had a lot of good football since then. And I know you and I both side with the positive side of Mike Tomlin when it comes to that ultimately.
Yeah, and let's talk about someone in the elephant in the room, as they say in the Steelers locker room, is Matt Canada is still here. I think everyone and their mother is like waiting patiently for like someone to tweet the Steelers relieve duties of Matt Canada. Why is he still here?
That's a great question. Mark Caboli of The Athletic reported just a couple of hours ago that the Steelers' plans are on hold with their coaching staff, which Caboli, great guy, great reporter, has been in Pittsburgh for a long time, kind of, reporting the obvious right there. They haven't fired anybody and they haven't, said that XYZ is going to be staying as coordinators. So it makes sense that they're in a holding pattern. I don't know what they're waiting for, man. Because it's been a little over a week now after the season has ended, it leads me to believe that Matt Canada is going to be the offensive coordinator of the Pittsburgh Steelers next season, which means he's going to continue to be the punching bag for every single Steelers fan, member of the media, anybody who has any connection to the Steelers, roots for the Steelers, or constantly craps on the Steelers, is going to be bringing up Matt Canada every opportunity they get. So there was a few reports out there that they're waiting for other coaches to potentially be fired. There are obviously a lot of coaches who are still in the playoffs right now. So, you can't interview them, right? You can request to interview them, but you can't pluck somebody from the Chiefs, right? Or the Giants right now because they're still working and still playing. So from that perspective, it makes a little bit of sense as to why they'd be waiting. And I do know that we're going to get into another coach who was recently let go that might be a opportunity for the Steelers to bring him in. But I mean, you and I think are on the same page with Matt Canada. They are delaying the inevitable still. He's not the long-term answer. His contract expires after next season. If you're going to let him go and walk after next year, which feels almost like a freaking given, just do it now. Cut the cord. Get it over with.
Yeah, I've been hearing some stuff on the radio here in Pittsburgh actually this morning. And they were talking about that Mike Tomlin kind of had a leash on Matt Canada because he was saying that they wanted to let the defense win the game. Obviously, we knew that Mitch was playing conservative when he was the starter at the beginning of the season. And then it kind of, they kind of did find the light. But I don't think that Matt Canada was the reason for the Steelers offense, the little success that they had. Because even when we were winning games, it's not like we were putting up, astronomical numbers. I mean, it's just, I just think, like you said, we're delaying the inevitable. He's going to be gone. He's not in the 5-year plan. So why not do it? And that leads me into my next question. Byron Leftwich was fired, let go by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Former Steeler quarterback, great guy. I think that's your replacement right there. Obviously, he's knowledgeable. He's been with the Steelers as a player. I think that it's the perfect fit. I just think that the Steelers aren't going to pull the trigger. What are your thoughts on that? Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? I just think that that's your answer right there.
I disagree. I am so sick and tired of the Pittsburgh Steelers bringing coaches in because they were previously connected to the team
Like
or
Joey
the
Porter.
city in some fashion, right? Because it hasn't worked out. I mean, Matt Canada is a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Had a connection with Mike Tomlin. They're buddies. Coached his son for a little bit in college, or recruited him, I should say. Didn't work out. I made a tweet today. I was joking around. The Steelers' offensive coordinator candidates, Byron Leftwich, Deuce Staley, Antoine Randall, who are both coaching with the Lions and might actually be qualified candidates. But then I rattled off some other Steelers jokingly, like Chris Fumatu Malafala, Aaron Smith, you name it. I don't know.
Bring
I'm
back
sick and
at this point.
yeah, Landry Jones, whoever it may be. I'm tired of this kind of circle, this clique, if you will, that exists around the Rooney family. This is an organization that, I get it, is based off of family and tradition, but at some point, right? What's the definition of insanity? If you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, you are going to, of course, get the same results. You need different results. So look outside of the organization at a Frank Reich. It's not that, listen, it's not that difficult. Coaches go to different teams all the time and succeed without knowing their organization and knowing humans in that building. And that's why I don't want Byron Leftwich, because he also had a bad season with Tampa this past season. And I think Bruce Arians, the departed coach who left, obviously, prior to Leftwich taking over the offense, was the reason Brady in that offense was successful and not Leftwich.
I just think it's a little bit different, bringing him in. I get what you're saying. I still don't understand why Canada's there. I don't know if it's because he recruited Mike Tomlin's son. Uh, I have no idea, but yeah, I mean, we'll agree to disagree, I guess. So another thing that's going around on the internet right now is Jordan Addison declared for the draft, former Pitt Panther, transferred to USC this year. Should the Steelers take him in the first round? Let's be honest. I mean, I get that him and Kenny Pickett had that connection in college, but I don't think it's going to be the Joe and Jamar Chase, like the connection that they had. He's not Jamar Chase. I don't want to call him overrated. I think he's a great player, but I don't think that the Steelers need another wide receiver. Now, if Deontay Johnson doesn't return, I think that could be, maybe I'll lean more towards yes, but I just don't. Jordan Addison is a good player. I just don't think that he's a great player. And I get that the connection in college is there, but again, it's just going to be a no from me.
I think there are a lot of pros and cons. I agree with you that Jordan Addison is probably a little bit overrated, at least in Pittsburgh, just because we are used to him, right? We know his name a lot more than a lot of course, the other prospects who are out there. He's not Jamar Chase. He's not one of these top receivers. He's probably a slot receiver on an NFL team. And you can make the argument, why draft a slot receiver in the first round, right? Like, you have
We
so
need
many
offensive linemen. I will be pissed if we draft Jordan Addison in the first round.
I won't. At the end of the day, I think this league is now so inspired by explosive offenses. You look at who's left.
We have Steven Sim Jr.
The Chiefs, the Bills.
Come on, man.
Right?
I'm going to start acting like Stephen A. Smith here in a second.
All these teams have, maybe outside of the Chiefs, elite receivers. Look what the Eagles did. They brought in A.J. Brown. Their offense took off over the top, man.
But I'm saying you're really putting Jordan Addison in the same category as A.J. Brown and Jamar. Come on, man.
I'm not. But I'm saying the problem with the Steelers right now is that they have to have a 17-play drive to score a touchdown.
Yeah.
5 yards in a cloud of dust with Najee. When was the last time we saw Najee break a 68-yard touchdown run? Not saying he isn't a great running back. Really like what he did. But ultimately, he's not that kind of player. George Pickens, going to be a phenomenal receiver. He's not a yak guy. He doesn't have many yards after the catch. No. I think, honestly, he averaged the lowest yards after
Tomlin
catch
was asking him,
did
NFL. You see that? Did you see that clip? He's like, can I get some yak after? Did you see that clip on Twitter?
Yeah, it makes me want to yak his lack of yak. He has a lack of yak. Deontay Johnson as well. He's not a home run hitter. He's a possession receiver on the outside. His yards after catch, I think, are in the negatives because
Yeah,
he goes the wrong way, actually.
I
So they
think he
don't have a
might be
home run
getting
hitter.
tips from Ryan Switzer because remember when he was on special teams, he would always run the opposite way and then get tackled 5 yards back.
Yeah.
So maybe
I
they
sure.
were hanging out doing off-season drills or something.
Shout out Switz. I know. Actually, he never answered my text, so I'm not going to shout out Switz on this show. We're angry at Ryan Switzer,
Yeah, he can
but I
go be
think
with the Browns.
I think they need a player who can hit a home run, have an 80-yard touchdown on a slant, take it the distance. These 16 play drives, there's just no room for error, man. You have to be perfect on these drives. You're picking up 5 or 6 first downs to get in the end zone. I want one time. Give me a Willie Parker-esque player. Chase
Yeah.
Claypool did it his rookie season. This is a dude who had so many long touchdowns, and then ever since then, we haven't seen a guy like Martavis Bryant, right? Obviously, Antonio Brown is long gone. But I want somebody who can crib it on one freaking play, and I'm tired of these dink and dunk offenses.
Well, that's funny you say that. So I was even kind of confused, and I thought that just knowing, being in the Steelers world, what's going on with Calvin Austin? Like I know that he was just a great player in college, and I was
Yeah.
really excited to see him because I think that he could be a great, wide receiver 3 and special teams player. I know that he battled injuries, but like it was like he never even seen the field. It was like even when I was at training camp, I didn't even see him on the sideline.
Yeah, they decided to shut him down in the middle of the year. He had a foot injury. I don't know if he could have ultimately made it back, but you know how the Steelers are with rookies. They like to bring them along really slow.
Yeah.
Um, Calvin Austin is a guy that I agree. He has a lot of potential, but I've also seen him in person. The guy's like 5'9", 160 pounds soaking wet.
Dang.
So I
I'm
don't
not too
know.
far behind.
I'm telling you, I don't know if he's going to have the impact a lot of Steelers fans think. I think he might be battling with Anthony Miller, who they just re-signed at the end of the day to have that 4th, 5th wide receiver spot, especially if they go out and draft somebody, which we all expect. Because I know 4 guys who are going to be on the team: Deontay, Pickens. I think Steven Sims is a lock. I actually really liked what he did last
I
season,
do too.
and whoever they draft. So how much is a 5th receiver going to contribute at the end of the day? We'll
Yeah.
see if he makes some big plays in the preseason. You never know. There are guys who sneak up on you, but I'm not putting much faith in Calvin Austin Jr. to be that home run hitter when it's all said and done.
Yeah, you are watching the Steelers Crazy Sick podcast. Wherever you get your podcast, we are not just on YouTube. You can search us down there. Just use Google, just like you do everything else. Steelers Sick podcast. Again, we are going all season. We're going to be having guests. We're bringing the fans on, and we just really appreciate Steeler Nation for rocking with us all year long because the fun has just begun. I think that I'm sure you probably have like 20 mock drafts already. Because
No, I'm staying away.
uh,
Listen, and the past decade, I would have had 50 already. I have made an agreement with myself, one of these handshakes,
with
that I am
yourself and
not
your fiance, or
just with myself right
okay?
now, that I'm not going to delve into mock drafts for at least another week or 2 weeks. I want to take this deep breath after the season. And I will admit it, I have not started really looking into this draft class, right? Like, the top guys. We could talk about
Yeah,
Jordan Addison, but I'm not going to come on here and bullshit everybody and tell you about this 3rd round outside linebacker or nickel corner that I think the Steelers should take just because I read his name on Walter Football, or something like that.
yeah.
I'm keeping it real. I haven't looked into it yet. After I look into it, I can actually be informative. And then, yes, I'll do 30,000 mock drafts and my head will explode and I'll probably, be single.
Let's not hope for that because I'm looking forward to the wedding. All right, so the Browns pass on Brian Flores. Thank God because I don't want to see him in a brown shirt. What do you think that he's not going to be on the Steelers coaching staff next year?
I don't think he's going to be on the coaching staff. I think he's qualified to be a head coach or a DC somewhere. And I think ultimately he'll get another job, a promotion. And I think it's going to be with another team because the Steelers aren't going to be willing to budge on Terrell Austin at the end of the day.
Mhm.
I'd be happy for Flores. He deserves it. He
Yeah.
did have a big impact on the team this year. We talk to Steelers defenders every week here on the Sick Podcast, from Chris Wormley to Alex Highsmith to Robert Spillane. Everybody mentioned Brian Flores as a major, major influence on their success this season. And the defense was good throughout. They really were. Except that one time, Robert Spillane, I think he said Brian Flores would be the guy to lock himself out of the car, forget his car keys or something like that. I don't know. I remember that. But I'm with you. I'm just stoked that he doesn't get to go to that train wreck of the Cleveland Browns organization.
Yeah.
He would have been leaving a top-notch franchise in the National Football League to go to that dumpster fire of an organization in there in Cleveland. No offense, Andy, a sick podcast host as well. I would have hated to root against him that strongly 2 times a season.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think at the end of the day, he's going to get another job. But I'm with you. I'm happy it's not our neighbors over there
Yeah.
to the west.
All right. Well, that's the Steeler talk. So let's just talk about the NFL postseason and what surprised you. I know you didn't have too good of a betting week, so we won't bring up any
That's why I'm going to be
certain
single, in
games.
all honesty, not the mock drafts. That's why I'm going to be
See, I
single.
deleted my account because I remember a few years ago, my wife was like, "Why are you watching horse racing and yelling at the television?" And I was like, and then I didn't need to explain. And then, from there, I've been able to, be a
Reel it in.
good boy, as they say. Yes, reel it in. The urge is a Super Bowl, though, is definitely one that you have to, because it just makes.
Un-American, if not.
Yes, that's true.
Coin toss.
Yes, we did that and won, and I
What are you
actually
thinking?
won.
Heads or tails this year?
I think it's going to be tails. I think
Wow.
I'm
I'll
going with
remember that.
tails.
All right.
So send that in, lock it in, call Vegas after this podcast.
Tails never fails.
So the Dolphins in the AFC put up a fight with it basically an 8th string quarterback.
Yeah.
I actually turned off the game because I think it was like 14 or 17, whatever it was. The Bills were just up, and I'm like, I went downstairs and played Madden. I came back up, and right before the half, it was just back and forth. Josh Allen, man, he needs to get it together because he's not going to be able to do that against other teams in the AFC moving forward in the playoffs. Obviously, the Ravens really played the Bengals really well. My pick is still the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs. The Cowboys won last. I'm just going to give my breakdown. The Cowboys, they don't scare me. Like, I just think that was a depleted team. Tom Brady, he gave it all that he got. Can't say that. But the Buccaneers weren't even a 500 team. The Steelers beat them this year. The South, the NFC South was just absolutely horrible. And that just showed in that game. So I'm not really impressed by the Cowboys. I think that they're going to get smacked by the 49ers. That's my Super Bowl pick. I think that it will be the Kansas City Chiefs and the 49ers. And I think it could go either way because a lot of people count out Patrick Mahomes because, oh, Joe Burrow, this. I don't even think the Bengals are that for real. But that's just me. We'll get your take, and then we'll head out, and then we'll see everyone Thursday.
I predicted the Bills to win the Super Bowl on our last show. I said Bills over 49ers. Big believer in the 49ers. I am even more after what they did to the Seahawks. I can't believe Brock Purdy keeps doing this. Like, I keep waiting for him to fall off a cliff. Mr. Irrelevant, 7th round pick. I think everybody attributed his success to the fact that he's in this phenomenal offense. Their defense is the best in the NFL. So, right, he can obviously rely on them. And Kyle Shanahan, the coaching, absolutely incredible. But right now, it looks like Brock Purdy is for real as well. So I still like them in the NFC. I'm with you, man. We were talking about Josh Allen off air. The guy is an anomaly. He's a phenomenal athlete. He's a tremendous player. He's probably ultimately going to be a Hall of Famer when it's all said and done. But he's got this like mix of, I think the way I explained it before, like Brett Favre, where he trusts his arm maybe a little too much. Jay Cutler is another guy. That's
wow.
A little
I haven't
insulting.
heard that name in a while.
That's too insulting to Allen. But Cam Newton, I think, with his size and ability to run, and then like a tumbleweed, like a ball that has no idea where it's going, just aimlessly floating around in the air, going left, right, back, forth. So that's what he is. He's a combination of those three. I'll lay a percentage on each. So I think the Bills made me really nervous as I watched them in Week 18 against the Patriots. I attributed that to DeMar Hamlin, the whole situation. Glad to see he's doing so much better. Shout out DeMar, 3, like you said, always, man. But they didn't look good against the Patriots, and that carried over into the first game against Miami. Skylar Thompson, they scored 9 points against the freaking Jets at home in a must-win game. They go on the road and put up 31 points with Skylar Thompson. The Bills are worrying me. I'm with you now. I had the 49ers in it. And right now, I just don't know how the Bills get past the Chiefs on neutral field. But I'll see first if the Chiefs get past the pesky Jaguars. Duval.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that. And then Trevor Lawrence celebrating at Waffle House. I think that made it. I mean, how could you not? He just just the dude being a dude at the end of the day. I mean, they're professional athletes. They're in the limelight. But hey, man, if you want to get Waffle House after a big playoff win,
deserve it.
I'm there for it. And hopefully the Steelers will be getting some Waffle House, after their playoff win. And I'm just going to say this right now, and we're going to end on this. You can call me crazy, but we are Steelers crazy. The Steelers are going to win the AFC North next year, and the Pittsburgh Pirates are going to be the NL wild card.
I love that. I'm so happy. This has been one of the best 4 days as a Pirates fan for me in a long time. Kutch is back. I'm on cloud nine. I'm floating.
Now
in
the
the
Penguins
air right
just got to get it together because
Penguins
they're too inconsistent. They win 5 games, they lose 7. So hopefully, I would love to get one more Stanley Cup with these 3, and hopefully everything's all right with Chris Letang too. So praying for him. And yeah, man, this is Steeler crazy. We're going to be going all year. We're going to have guests. We're going to have the fans. So make sure you follow us at Sick Pod Steelers. We're on Facebook, Twitter, wherever you get your podcast. I'm JY. This is Mike. Shout out to our guy, Sammy, as always. And we will see you on Thursday. Here we go, Steelers. It may be the off season, but we bleed black and gold all year. Sammy.
Send in those fan questions.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Steelers Crazy on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.